evening and welcome to it. It's the first Monday Night Football of 2021 and I would like to use this opportunity to say Happy New Year to all of you that are watching, wishing you prosperity in 2021 and of course the most important thing, wishing you good health. The name is Kamzambata. As we reflect on what's happened since the year has started, a lot has happened this past weekend, but most importantly today, there's been another coaching appointment in the DSTV Premiership. We're going to start there first, but let me introduce you to my panel for this evening. It's made up of Shwe Walters, I have Veli Limnyandu in the house, and of course, Calvin Sosibo. Gents, thank you so much for joining me this evening and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Let's start with the big story of the day. Velile, today we find out that there's a new coach. Not so new coach, I guess. He was the coach of the team that Tim Sugazi bought to become the team that he is today. And so now that coach is back to coaching that team. 5 marks. Who's that?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's easy now. The story has been dominating the headlines the whole day. Yeah. ODG is back there at TS Galaxy. I'm saying back because the status of Highlands Park was bought by TS Galaxy.
Right.
But I think maybe a bit of history as well. Tim and Owen, they come a long way.
Right.
Because Tim has been representing ODG for a very long time.
Ah.
You know?
Right.
Same goes with the Dance as well.
Right.
So you can see the choice.
Pattern. Yes.
Yeah. You know? So it's not really surprising that it turned out like that. Maybe I was a bit surprised even the first time. But I think the first time I heard something that ODG wanted to be paid out of
the buyout.
You know, so that's what he was expecting. And remember at the time also there was talk of him going to TTM, but negotiations didn't go well. You know, so it's not entirely surprising that now that things didn't work with Dance, and he's the one now who comes to take over. Because sometimes we always hear guys saying, I mean, where's pride? Why is the coach doing this? But if me and you comes are here, we were to lose our jobs, and there's no hope that there's another job coming.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You think twice about, okay, what type of an environment I'm going to. What do you think about is that you've got monthly bills to pay, you've got a bond, you've got cars, you have to take kids to school.
You'll see it later.
You know?
Yeah.
You know? So here's a guaranteed salary and a 2-year deal that you're going to sign. You take it and then, because sometimes people, they have a lot to say, but can you do that?
Yeah, if you were in these shoes, put yourself in
and
these
this is
shoes.
where I understand sometimes
Right.
where these guys come from.
Sure.
As footballers.
Sure, of course, it makes sense. I mean, Kelvin, let's look at it from this way. I mean, the situation they're in now, TS Galaxy, they've already gotten rid of a coach, they've got a new coach, but you have to wonder what would have happened if they just kept ODG from the beginning with the players that he knows, with how well he was doing with Highlands. I mean, they would be in a far better position, one has to think, if they just kind of kept that continuity going.
Yeah, true. I think coming off the incoming of Owen to the team is a great motivation to the guys, and I think this is actually maybe it's going to be the time where we're going to see a turnaround in terms of results because the players know him. Surely, if they would have kept Owen they actually kept him from the team, I think by now we should be seeing a whole total different
TS
Galaxy.
Yeah.
So looking forward, I think it's going to bring more results because I think players know him anyway. So we should actually see a TX Galaxy that's going to push now at this point.
And I guess, Shwe, the nice prospect of it is that we're going to have another competitive team, I guess, you know. We maybe call it the new manager bounce, but knowing those players, and then that just adds to the dynamic of the league when you have another team that's reinvigorated and can possibly start, you know, putting some upsets amongst the other teams.
Yeah, we've always known Owen Da Gama to have teams that are hard running, man-for-man marking, if you want to call it that, which has come back now into modern-day football, his type of football to a certain degree. And I think that's going to help them because if you look at the way they've played, maybe it didn't suit them defensively and maybe this is what they need. But the problem that I think he's going to have is that he didn't have the pre-season with him and he demands a lot from his players physically.
Right.
So does he have the time? There's a lot of games. Games are coming quick and fast. He doesn't have a lot of time. He's playing every 3-4 days. So those are the things that they're probably going to have to take into consideration. Had he had the preseason with him, you can say yes, he's going to have a competitive team.
Right.
But now for him still to implement the way he starts his teams off at the beginning of the season, to start it now, and they need the results also. The other teams that are below them are being competitive and doing well. So in that sense, it's a tough ask, but I think if there's anybody that can do it, I think he can. I mean, he came and saved Bloemfontein Celtics when I was there. We were sitting, I think, 14 games and we were on 12 points. And he came in December, and January we survived. A goal difference at the end of the season, but he is the right man, I think, to come and save them.
Okay. Well, do you think he can do it with the players as well that he has now? Because also, you know, there's some people that have left, good players have left.
It's an interesting point that Shoaib has just made, because on Friday I asked a similar question to Yaya. And I remember it was Yaya, it was the young boy Ethan Brooks, it was also the young captain, Given Msimango, and also the caretaker coach then, because I asked Yaya about how difficult has it been to get to understand. Because if you look at Coach Dance and Coach Zippo, that's one person. Because even Coach Zippo brought, in fact, Coach Dance brought Zippo too. So how difficult, because you've got the bulk of the squad coming from Highlands Park, and now they have to play differently. And he did say that it has not been easy, you know. And now we can imagine that they are now starting to understand or trying to play according to how they're expected by this technical team, and now things have to change. But maybe where things are better is that
Owen knows the players.
Yes,
they're familiar.
They know the systems and
yes,
what he wants.
Yes, it's just those few players who were at TS Galaxy who just have to come up to the level, though, because other players are coming from some PSL clubs. But I think also this comes at a time when the window is opening again next week.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
So,
do you think he'll get the support from the chairman?
Well, if he wants to retain his status, he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let's talk quickly before we take a break about. This is in the spotlight again, and we don't really like speaking about it, but it brings itself up, and that's the bad officiating that is happening in the league. We're going to look at that game in particular with the big issue, but, you know, in terms of what happens, the recourse, you know, for the teams. Obviously, the result is what it is. But is there pressure? Do we understand, Billy, if there's pressure from the teams to get, you know, more help for the referees? Because, you know, at the end of the season, that call can have a big ramification on the final standings.
Well, the teams, they sit in the board of governors.
Yeah.
They run the PSL themselves, the
Yeah.
teams. And the PSL is the special member of SAFA. So that's at that level where this thing has to be escalated. There's no other way, guys. The PSL and SAFA must push for a VAR.
Right.
That's the only thing that's going to. We can say whatever we're going to say now. How many times have we complained and said all these things
For sure.
about match officiating? And sometimes I get the feeling that SAFA becomes too defensive when you talk about match officiating. You know, the mistakes are there. You know, so for me, if we are calling ourselves a big league, like we are on this continent, in North Africa, in Egypt, in Morocco, in Algeria, in Tunisia, they have VAR.
For sure.
But they said it's expensive to have it. So isn't a cheaper option just to have a review, to where the referee can go and just go watch a replay and have and review it there. I mean, you look at Juventus Sassuolo last night. The referee gave the player a yellow card, and afterwards he went to go and watch the replay, and he changed his yellow card to a red card. They can do that because
but it's still VAR.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Do you have to do it the same way? Does it have to all be done the same way as the other leagues?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
I think also it comes in different packages.
Right.
You
So
know,
you can kind of mold it for your league and your needs.
Yes. But the last time I spoke to the chairperson of a refereeing committee at SAFA, Natasha Tsiklas, she did say that it's something that they were discussing. But it's not something that they were discussing with the PSL at the time. They were
Right.
just discussing within SAFA. But this is something that is going to impact on professional football. For instance, this weekend, there were two games that were not on TV.
Right.
That was the Arrows and
TTM.
Arrows and Shipper game.
Right.
TTM and Cape Town City.
Yeah.
Now, what must happen? Because you can't have VAR only for those teams that are live on TV.
No, for sure. So we must actually go a bit further back and make sure that all the TV games or non-TV, all the games are produced.
Exactly.
So that there is some sort of visual recording apparatus at each game.
Yes, but the political will between SAFA and PSL, this thing must happen now.
It must. We've been speaking about it for too long. It's 2021. Let's see if that can change. What we're going to do, though, is take a short little break, after which we carry on here on Monday Night Football on Soweto TV. We discuss the results from the weekend and what they mean for the respective teams and coaches. Do join us after this. So the original Soweto derby happened at the weekend with the club that's risen from the ashes like a phoenix. Swallows FC contesting quite a tight game with the Orlando Pirates. It ended up a 1-1 draw in the end. I mean, a lot was said about this because of the form that Swallows find themselves in, Calvin. And, obviously against a team that is expected to do well in Orlando Pirates. What were your thoughts of the encounter?
I think Swallows play very well. Looking at them in terms of the log, they've got 10 games, 6 wins, 4 draws. And they've got 14 goals forward and 6 goals against, which that proves to be a great result for them. I knew from my side that Swallows was actually going to be a good match for Orlando Pirates. Pirates actually played at the back end in the first half. Swallows was actually coming to them. And then up until there was a tweak in terms of their game change in Pirates, and then Pirates started actually attacking a little bit more now. That forced now Swallows to actually to work more in terms of the counter-attack. So for me, I knew that the coach will actually stick to his gun with his more flowing football and try to take as much as possible. The usage of his width proved profitable when actually the goal that came from across.
Okay. And then, Shoaib, looking at that encounter, Tyson Hlatshwayo were getting a bit of flack from the Pirates fans. Some maybe not impressed with his, defensive appearances so far this season. What do you make of that? I mean, is it a case of him still settling in? And because people are asking now, where's Happy Jele? Why not mix it up?
Yeah, to me, I think one of Tyson's flaws has always been anticipating in defensively. That is what I've always felt. And we've had a lot of team talks for the clubs that I've played for, and we've always tried and planned around Tyson, even when he was at Bidvest. I feel that he's a bit of a robust, he's a good leader. I mean, if you want to talk about all the positives, aerially he's good, defensively and offensively. He'll put his body on the line for the team. But then there also are flaws, and I think the flaws are just being exploited a little bit more in Orlando Pirates setup, where they've actually expected to have a defender to actually be covering, to be leading, to be anticipating. And those are actually a lot of those attributes that I mentioned now is some of the flaws.
Right.
And it will be exposed at a team like Orlando Pirates, because you have Nyauza on the right, which you're going to have to try and guide, but Tyson himself needs guidance.
Right.
And I think that's where Makonaz was brilliant at, was guiding Tyson, covering him. And now you have, so for me, he's going to get a bit of flack, but I also believe that he also is a player that can adjust and he can see, okay, this is a flaw of mine, and I need to step up now.
Sure.
Maybe I didn't need to step up at Wits because I had people covering me, I had people to guide me.
Right.
Now, but that is what I'm saying. He's not a national team captain for nothing.
Yeah.
So I think he can adjust and solidify and maybe have better performances to the critics out there.
I think also just to add into what Shoaib is saying, I think as a defender, your score points will always be in terms of how many crosses you cut in, your anticipation, how many blocks that you make in the game. So I think going forward for Tyson, if he can actually read the game much better, I think it is going to help him. Bringing up Jele as well, even though we know that he's sick, I think he's actually going to be a good guide moving forward to Tyson.
Okay, I mean, really, a certain coach kind of said that Tyson isn't really technically a good player. You know, technically, like he's got a lot of good qualities, but as far as being technically adept, what's your thoughts on that? Because Coach Mangoba, you know, kind of threw a cat among the pigeons with that statement. Do you agree, disagree?
Well, look, I think as Shoaib had said, with defenders, you are not going to get a full package. You know, you will have strengths here and then you'll have weaknesses here. You know, I think even with Tyson, even from his time at Bidvest, in fact, even when he was at Ajax, if you remember at Ajax, they would also play him on the right as a right back. But you also see it at Bafana as well. You know, so you know that Tyson, for instance, for a team that plays coming out of from the back, playing from the back, and which is what Pirates was before Zimbabwe got there. You know, maybe it's a slightly different Pirates now in terms of how they're playing with Zimbabwe.
Right.
And that's why someone like Tyson maybe was not really going to cut it at a team like Sundowns. You know, so there is that expectation. But I think the reality is that you are not going to get a full package from Tyson.
Right.
You know.
But what he does well, he does very well.
He does very well.
Yes.
They are going to the CAF Confed now.
Yeah.
You're going to see him there.
Okay.
You know, because CAF Confed is not about just playing smartly on his,
Yeah.
but it's also about going hard.
Yeah.
You know, playing with your heart. You know, he's going to give you that.
Okay.
And I think for me, he has brought something this season that was not there in the Pirates defense.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
But now we must not expect him to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
And the savior of the defense, yeah,
And also,
on his own.
and also you look now, they're conceding goals, so then they're always going to look at the newcomer in the team, and also the expectation was there. So now who to blame? We're just going to look first thing at him. But I do believe that he has what it takes to adapt.
Yeah.
Because that is what is
That's a hallmark of a good player.
Yes,
is you adapt
exactly.
to your surroundings.
So yeah, I think he will grow, and I think for me, on Pirates, there's still going to come a time when they're going to gel because the conditions were bad, were poor over the weekend. If you look at the game itself, but I mean, they still managed to bring some entertainment, as Swallows did as well. I mean, when the time came and was open. I would have. I mean, Hamilton had 2 clear-cut chances saved by Wayne Sanderlands.
Yeah.
So as much as we say yes, it was a draw and Pirates are hard done by because of the penalty.
Yeah.
But I mean, had Hamilton put one of his chances in, so
and also in the last 2 matches,
Yeah.
Pirates was playing number 1 and number 2.
yeah.
You know, so and even in terms of now the quality of the attackers they're up against, you know, in terms of giving problems to their defense, you know. So you can see how they were struggling. You know, maybe this is the test that they needed, because for me, you know, sometimes if you go with what football supporters, when things are going well, they forget about Happy Jelle, and then the moment things are not going well, where's Happy Jelle?
Right.
You know,
right?
And not long ago, people were saying, but Happy Jelle is getting old, so now you need to start managing him in terms of how you play him. So you see sometimes how football people reason and how men on the street reason.
So now, do you think those performances, if you're speaking about them playing first and second, are they quality to be the team at the top? Because I mean, if you're trying to win stuff and you want to win big things, especially on the back of the trophy that there's just won, you sort of have to, you know, be keeping up with number 1 and 2. A draw is creditable, obviously, because it's a point. But you know, having lost against Sundowns, that surely puts them back now in terms of their ambitions of being a team in those 1 or 2 top places.
For me is look. I think after the management of games is also not too good. When they take the lead, they always look vulnerable at conceding, which they did now in the last 2 minutes of the game. Yes, you know, on the left you had Marco, which I think is a promising youngster. I think is going to be phenomenal. But you have to trust the process with the youngsters, because it was actually the pass that they passed through before the cross came through him. And I mean, if you had a Ruben Kluti there, for example, you tuck in, let him pass wide, and you block the cross.
But I had a problem. I had a problem with Marco, playing Marco ahead of Mayela and Bongani Sam, yes, Bongani Sam, you can say he has not been playing.
Sure.
But against a team that you know that has been free scoring like Swallows, you need someone who's first going to defend.
Yes.
Yeah, but maybe they wanted to put,
You know,
but for me,
yes, you need someone who's first going to defend.
First and
I know
foremost,
that
yeah.
because I like Marco more as a wing back.
Yes.
You know, but against a team like Swallows, or if let's say you're going against Sundowns,
Yeah.
you know, you want a left back who's first going to defend, a full back,
Yes.
not a wing back.
Yes.
And in this case, this is where, I don't know, maybe in terms of fitness, I don't know where Mayela is. This is where I would have thrown him, because at first, you want someone who's there, who's going to be solid,
Yes.
and then you can think
Complementary as far as the
Yes.
attack is concerned.
But I think they wanted to pin Swallows
From attacking more.
from attacking more. So they want. That is why you saw it was wave after wave. Pirates was coming, and the only way you can do that is by having someone like Marco there as a wing back, because now you worried. I think Jay-Z was saying,
But when it
I
comes
won
to-
my 3 points.
Yes.
Now that is where maybe after they scored, maybe then a tactical change would have been a bit better, a different change.
Yeah.
Maybe defensively. Now that is why I'm saying there's certain times in the game when, especially when they're leading, they look a lot vulnerable. So it could be a coach, maybe his tactical changes or maybe
Weakening the side.
Yes, weakening the team. But I think there they need to. But the players on the pitch also needs to manage the game well. I think they've got enough experience on.
Hey, that's another catch
so the
among the
straight
pigeons.
way-
You know what
yeah.
happens when you take the football into your own hands. Huh?
So
Yeah.
the straight word
Yeah.
from the discussion is selection.
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 Well, I think for my opinion is this. The way that Pirates came, they came at Swallows strongly, basically in terms of their attack. They didn't worry about much in terms of defending, because Swallows can play and they are good on break attacks. So having more numbers in the middle and trying to close the spaces on the middle, not for them to attack. I think that's the reason why, because they were more effective in terms on their left hand side more than their right. Because the guy that you could see there was Yoste was very solid.
Yeah.
He wasn't going up as often as he does. But Marco on the other side, because I feel that on their right hand side, this is where they were strong in. So if you add more numbers in terms of going forward, you actually force the winger not to attack more but to defend.
Right. Okay.
And that's the channel Swallows was using, especially in the
Yeah.
first half.
Yeah. Okay.
Marco's channel.
Let's give credit then to the coach, who obviously came out guns blazing, because he's saying you guys in the media are gonna have to eat some humble pie. Saying that Swallows FC is a retirement home. It's all the rejects of the league, and here we are. And and maybe that's what it is. That underdog tag has helped elevate their game, and there's a lot of people with a chip on their shoulder saying we're gonna show you people that we deserve to be here.
There's one thing that you need to understand about the retirement packages or retirement clubs. You look at the character of the player.
Yeah.
Now that is where you'll see. Vuyomere is not a character where I just want my next paycheck.
Yeah.
I want the retirement package. No, he wants to be successful. Mokoena the same. Matlaba is the same.
Yeah.
Virgil Fries got an opportunity to rejuvenate his career. So that is a objective for him. And that is why I'm saying, yes, if I looked at other players, and because I've played against these players and with Mokoena a month or two in the pre-Bafana camp, World Cup camp, and you can see those characters. So it's not, they want to still be successful.
Yeah.
Vuyomere is playing like a 22-year-old, and it should be aspiring to other youngsters out there that you can determine how long you want to play. Lucky Lugwat is a perfect example in our era.
Sure.
That you can play till 40 as an infield player. And that is what I'm saying. For me, is you just have to look at the character of the player and how successful they've been in their career. They will tell you if they still have the passion and desire to want to play and be successful.
Yeah, in
Also-
fact, with Vuyomere, this is his 20th season.
Here we go. I mean,
In the top flight,
Yeah.
from his time at
Hellenic.
Hellenic,
Yeah.
and this is a player who won championships very early in his career with Sundowns,
Sure.
and has played, and he went on to also lift trophies at Platinum Stars as well. So he's been all around, and also even in terms of maybe getting those lessons the hard way.
Yes.
When he was still at Sundowns, so he's had that type of life, but also bounced back from that, So and also these are the players who promoted Swallows.
Yeah.
Him and Mokoena as
Yeah,
well.
sure.
And I think for me, I'm happy also for the coach, because I remember I think on Friday he had a press conference, and he kept on fielding this question of him coming from the lower division and coaching in the PSL for the first time. But I think by now, I think we're on game 10 now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see what the guy is capable of.
For sure.
You know,
For sure.
that Swallows team, you can see that they're not just punching above their weight now,
They
but
know what
also
they're doing,
even
yeah.
the way they are playing. You know, they deserve to be where they are. You know, as to whether they can go all the way, that's a story for another day. You know, but I think now the talk now, especially after we reach game 15, we must stop referring to Swallows as just as rookies and look at a team that is challenging
For sure.
for some honors. this
Whatever's
season.
on the table.
Yeah.
So see, I mean, he makes a good point, Velile, about Coach Braki's. A lot of people are surprised by the tactical acumen and what he's been able to do. I mean, for you, when you see how he sets up his teams and how they've been doing, are you looking at him thinking, wow, that's a coach who knows his team and knows how to get the best out of them?
I've been to one of their training sessions. Very professional. Gets his training session smoothly, runs it perfectly. I think he's one coach that came in not being under pressure or highly looked at.
Yeah.
And I think he has proved everybody wrong by the way he's actually going about in his business. Because it can tell you, in terms of the goals that they are scoring, their goals forward, they actually have 14 goals forward and they only conceded 6. So it says a lot in terms of this balance of his play. He's got most of the players on good positions, where he's got senior players which are actually guiding the spine of the team. So moving forward, I think for him it's just to keep up where he is and then just to try to mold also the youngsters, because you see a lot of energy that is coming in the team, blending with the youngsters and the older ones.
Okay, well, we're 10 games into the season, and there is a much-loved team that is languishing in the relegation zone. We're going to look at their fixture after we take a short little break, after which it all continues. The show continues. Lagu Soweto TV on MNF, Monday Night Football. Welcome back. You're on Monday Night Football, Lagu Soweto TV, Kamalam Kamzambata, as we now look at the big result from the weekend for one Ernst Middendorp. And I guess if you're a Kaizer Chiefs fan, you'd still be hoping that if he got a good result, that he was still your coach. But he's not this time around. He was on the other side and is the coach that won against his former team with Maritzburg United, now enjoying 2 games back-to-back, collecting all 3 points. So they've seemingly got something right. You know, you're looking at Maritzburg United side who are reinvigorated. On the side of Kaizer Chiefs, I mean, relegation form at this point, Schwab. But obviously, you know, I mean, to some, especially Chiefs fans, it's unfathomable that their team will get relegated. But what needs to change? Because even the coach is saying, come on, guys, you need to do more.
Yeah, we just didn't talk about the game over the weekend. Can we blame the travelling, like Mr. Middendorp said? You know, he felt for them. It was the travelling and a bit lethargic, and you could see it. Yeah, was he really feeling for them, or was he actually just saying that I kind of outplayed them, or you know?
Well, I think he was saying he doesn't feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, you chose to, this is, you know, you're Chiefs.
You are Chiefs,
Deal with
and you're expected to win and expected to give you 120% all the time. I think they did look a little bit lethargic. I do believe that, for me, from what I've watched even, is that they're just struggling with morale, with a little bit of there's the fighting spirit. I mean, you have players off the field also, which is also struggling. So for me, in that sense, is they've got a lot of work, but they do need the experienced players now more than ever, because it's no more now about playing good football. It's just about the results.
Sure.
We've seen supporters complaining, yes, we want better football, we don't want better football, this and that. For now, it's a situation where Kaizer Chiefs hasn't been in, and we've spoken about this towards the end of last year. That's unfamiliar territory for them, and now they need soldiers and they need fighters, and I can see even Gavin himself, but he's been in the game for long, and I don't think there's a better coach that could take them out of the situation that him and his team has put themselves in.
Velile, we find out that they'll, you know, Wydad Casablanca, Horoya, and Petro Dulawanda, that's who they're going to be up against as far as the African adventure is concerned. Was there maybe a miscalculation on that side to go give it horns, as they say, for the African adventure and then come back and not have the legs to carry you through a DSTV Premiership game? did they balance it correctly in your mind?
It's very interesting because I felt Chiefs played a very good game in Luanda last week. In fact, for me, they could have even won that game against against Primero de Agosto by more than 1 goal. But also remember, they were without 2 of their key midfielders there. There was no Katsande, there was no Manyama. And this is also where the effect of COVID is also coming in. We might not be getting the results officially
the updates,
in terms of being told, but you had even Kevin yesterday talking about this issue of COVID. And now COVID is hitting a team that even doesn't have numbers. Because in the Champions League, other teams will be beefing up now. Even here in the PSL, other teams will be beefing up. But Chiefs still, they're still banned, you see. So this is where it's going to come in now. And Shoaib was talking about experienced players, but they've been losing games with the experienced players there, you know. And sometimes the mistakes were coming from the experienced players.
Even now the weekend.
I mean, Rama's mistake, of course.
Yes. You look at those 2 goals, especially the second goal, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So this is where it becomes tricky now. What is the coach going to do? But I refuse to blame this on the Champions League, because a team as big as Chiefs had never reached the group stages of the CAF Champions League before. And there's no guarantee that they will be in the CAF Champions League anytime soon, because you have to finish in the top 2 to be in the Champions League.
For sure.
You know, so they have to make use of this opportunity.
But I mean, but what does that mean then? You think they must just go all in?
You're going to risk your league. You're going to risk your league.
No. You see, sometimes the mentality in South Africa, all of us in football involved, it needs to change.
No. But I'm thinking
I'm saying the mentality,
of
the
Chiefs,
mentality that you must look down on this.
No. I'm saying they can't buy, Velile. They don't have the numbers.
No.
That's what we're saying.
But sometimes with the right mentality, you can use the form and the confidence,
of course,
from that tournament.
But that mentality is not there.
They came back and then they lost.
Yeah.
No, my point. My point on this is
the issue with Chiefs. It's not just. It's also about the issue of numbers, because even when they went there to beat Primero de Agosto, they were using those youngsters, Macheke and also Blom in the midfield. But even then, here they came back because the players are still out due to COVID. You understand? It doesn't mean that because between now and when Chiefs has to start the group stages, they've got 5 to 6 matches.
Yeah.
And anything can happen in those matches. But whatever you do and say, do not belittle the CAF Champions League.
No. It's not about
I don't think we're belittling. I think that all things equal, if they're allowed to have their transfer windows and whatever, and this form that they're having, I'd say go for it. I agree with you. I would totally agree that you don't look down on the competition, but considering the circumstances of not being able to strengthen your squad, you're sitting in relegation zone in your domestic league.
So what such as they should have
I think
opted out
they
of
should
the
focus
Champions
on the
League.
one more than the other. That's
I
what
beg
I'm
to
saying.
differ.
Okay.
But for me is it can also be, remember they made history now, gone through. So that plays mentally on younger players. You can come back and your next game is it can be a mental thing where you're using, I'm just going to rock up and win. It happened a lot. I mean, it happened with us when we qualified or we won in Mozambique with Cape Town City, and we came back and then we lost here 2-1. We thought, we'll walk in the park. You understand? So it's a mental thing as well. As much as we say recovery and we can use this and that, it's also a mental thing. It's the same thing like you coming and you win a cup final now, and then Wednesday you're playing bottom of the log and you lose, you get hammered. It also happened with me at Cape Town City. It's all about how you approach games. And why I'm saying
and Maritzburg were bottom of the log.
Exactly.
At the time they played.
So you're thinking, hey, okay, no, we Chiefs, we're just going to rock up. But why I'm saying the senior players needs to lift the other players up, not only by the performances, and you rightfully saying they're not doing that. They're not leading with performances. But in the camp now also, jack them up. You know, look, we're in a situation that you guys are not familiar with.
But I think, speaking from a player's point of view, I think Chiefs going there, what lacked on Chiefs now was the freshness, because you consider the travelling as well. There's
and
a
this
difference.
was the closest destination.
Yes.
The other two, they might even have to go via Europe.
Yes.
So if we're using fatigue as an issue now, what more when they have that much more traveling?
Freshness comes into play at this point, and then again, motivation, confidence on players is low. So those are the three things that I've actually looked at Chiefs coming from the players' point of view, because they can actually they went to Africa and then they won, but now when they come back then they lose. So you look at the travel as well.
Also in Africa.
Say again?
Well, also
Rest of Africa.
The
Rest of.
Okay, yes.
ROA.
So what I'm saying is my argument here is freshness of players. So Maritzburg were more fresher than Kaizer Chiefs, and Maritzburg, that's why actually they won the game, because they had more energy than Chiefs. So the mistakes that they made in defense could tell lapse of concentration as well from players.
So
this is where sports science becomes important.
I was about to ask.
Because if Chiefs within their technical setup,
Yes.
they've got ways
Of prioritizing.
periodization for sure.
periodization. And then this is the language that a team like Sundowns, which has always been going through a program like this, they would go and they would fly in, and the following day they play a game and they win that game.
So are you telling me a big club like Kaizer Chiefs don't have the expertise to be someone who's getting this right as far as...
I never said they don't have.
So what do you say?
Yeah, I
What do you
never said
think?
they don't have, but it's how you utilize it. You might have it, but it's how you utilize it.
Yeah.
So it's something, okay. So better utilization.
You get what I
Better
mean.
utilization is required.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think the broader actually you go about this, if those aspects are in place,
Yeah.
Chiefs are actually going to be performing far better, because I think on my side, looking at the coach's point, this could be the issue in terms of their recovery level.
But
What
we're
are
10
they
games
doing?
into the season. Like,
Yeah, but
you
then
can't be
again-
trying to figure this out now.
Yeah, but again, are you doing it right? That's the question. Because you could be doing it your way, back and forth, but you're not getting any result. Try maybe have a mixed in terms of science, and stop believing on what doesn't work, because it's proven now that it doesn't work.
So are you talking out of the camp here now that they're not using it? Because the way you're saying it now is you saying use this way.
This is what you are hearing.
Oh.
I'm saying something.
No, because you see, when you're involved in a program like this,
Yeah.
The CAF Champions League, and also domestically, it's very important that you use the modern trends.
Yeah, for sure.
You
To give you a
utilize
fighting
everybody
chance.
at your exposed.
To
Exactly.
give you a fighting chance, of course.
And
of course.
because if you don't, and you've got challenges, even with the transfer ban, hey, you're going to suffer.
Let's see what they do with this honor that they have of being in African competition as far as the rest of the continent is concerned. But let's now focus on a team that, like Velile alluded to, know how to do periodization a bit better. Let's speak now about Mamelodi Sundowns and how that train, I guess, keeps on marching on, Velile. You know, it could have been over, that game, very quickly. It took a while, but you know, professionalism of Sundowns, the personnel of Sundowns, you just had a feeling that eventually 3 points lie, yes.
And you know what? You have to go to that former Puskas, FIFA Puskas nominee, Masuluke. I think he was brilliant on the day.
Right.
Made a number of brilliant saves. The
He did.
goalkeeper here next to me can attest to that. But look,
We'll touch on it. I'll touch on it as well. If given our opportunity, I'll touch on
sure. So I felt that for me, the experience of Sundowns, you know, another team would have panicked.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
but Sundowns, and they had the big guns. Well, first thing I saw, I was like looking at the bench. I was like, "Phew, game changers
Right.
on this bench." But also to see Mshishi and Serino coming back.
Right.
You know, for me, I see all the highlights from that day. But in the last goal, there's a point where Serino, I think, was pointing Lakay on who to pass.
Yeah.
No, don't pass me, pass this one.
Yeah.
And that one
He's
will pass
going to give it to me.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now you can see the footballing mind. And it's like, wow, this is it now, you know?
Yeah.
And Mshishi had been out and he came back. Sereno assist.
Yes.
First game.
Sure.
First game back.
Sure.
You know? Yes, you cannot deny all what he's been doing, trying to force a transfer to Al Ali, but the professionalism, once it's
Yeah.
back.
Once I'm
you can
back,
see
I
the
gotta do
quality.
my job.
You know,
For sure.
and how they unlocked this team, they forced them to get a red card, and from a set piece. And for me, and this is one of the things there I was saying, no. Then you can see where there are problems, maybe the shortcomings even in this Baroka team, because you know, Lakay is going to take a free kick.
Sure.
And how many free kicks has Lakay scored from this?
He's so good at them.
Exactly.
He's
And
so
you
good
know,
at them.
you know how he scores them. So this is some type of video analysis that you should have done. That when it's Lakay taking a free kick, this is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, but here you could see. And I mean, as a host team, did they have a shot on target, Baroka, in that game? I can't remember, but Sundowns, they were just
Out of this world.
Yeah, out of this world. And I think for me, Sundowns, they're going to walk.
This league, huh?
They're going to walk.
It looks like they're gonna do it at a canter shave. I mean, like that performance, the personnel, the reinforcements. Here's another window now. You know, you got players like Velila says who are quarter to leaving. As soon as they come back, they say, "I know my job because of the standard of this team that I play in." Who can keep up with them?
Yeah, I think most of the Sundowns viewers and supporters are probably going to fall off their chair because it's a new year. So I thought, you know what,
new things.
Yeah, new things. So I thought, you know what, let me give compliments to where it's due. No, look, I speak facts and of what I see, and where I have to give Sundowns its due is that the players that have come in have been given an opportunity. The three coaches wants to create their own DNA. You can see it clearly where they bringing in players, and fortunately those players have put their hands up and said, you know what, I'm here and I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
Mvala, Kermit Erasmus,
Shalulile, yeah.
They are all played. Things that the three coaches have changed is that they're not only going to wait for injuries or for suspensions to bring players in. They've been given players. Grant Mageman has been given opportunity as well.
Sure.
And that is what I like about the three coaches.
And it's going to stand them in good stead when you have players who know how the team plays.
Exactly.
Not being brought in from the cold.
And not being brought in because of certain reasons. Now that, you know what, here's your opportunity, take it, don't take it. Here's your opportunity. And it's 3 or 4 players. Mvala is saying, you know what, I know Kakana's a household name at Sundowns. But he's saying, you know what, I'm here to compete. And I'm here to stay if you need. So that is what I like about the three coaches. They're giving opportunities, they're creating their own DNA, and they're a well-oiled machine. We said this right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So I agree with Velili. It's going to be hard to beat them, and it's going to be hard to take the league away from them. It's basically theirs.
Yeah.
I know that Sundowns supporters at home and viewers are probably saying, hey, wow,
what's happening here?
Yeah.
Which trade was this?
Exactly. But you have to give credit where credit is due.
No, for sure.
Sorry, on the last point, Oscarine, brilliant performance. But Lyle Kay has scored 2 other free kicks against Cape Town City and against Wits when he knocked him out of the Nedbank Cup. He knocked it in Klongos. This is your corner.
Yeah.
I understand.
Because they looked at him and they were so disappointed in his reaction.
Yes, no, it's because he gave himself no chance. 1 second before that, he's moving to the middle. No, your wall covers the middle and the left-hand side of the goals. This and 1 meter is your side.
Yeah.
Whatever happens on the opposite side,
you're not going to be culpable, yeah.
This year, now you gave yourself no chance by moving to the left and try to cover the wall. Do exactly what you did with Temba's his first free kick in the first half. You stayed on your side and you stopped the shot. You do that, you stand a chance. Because then, who knows, might have been 0-0.
But you give him credit for saving George Maleka's free kick.
George Maleka, he went to go cover, but you must also know, for me as a goalkeeper, and I will tell you, this is advice to all goalkeepers, do your research over your free kick takers.
On the other team, yes.
George Maluleka is capable of getting it over the wall from that distance. So you will know he's going to. For example, Lorch can't, and that is why he targeted, in the other game, he targeted Fries's corner, but it went over. So you must know, Lyle Kay is going to hit low and hard.
Yeah.
He can't get it over the wall, so why are you going to cover the wall?
Sure.
So you must know these things, and you said it. Do your research. Know your free kick takers.
For sure.
Know who they are. Know
Yeah.
what.
Because sometimes it's not even just about the player, but it's the technical team.
Exactly.
You know, the technical team prepares the players, for this.
Sure.
Because if that preparation had been done, it would have triggered something.
Exactly, just stay. The ball's coming straight to you here, or if it scores on that side, it's going to go through the wall. It's not going to go over the wall. Lileke is not capable of that at that distance to get it over the wall and hit.
But again,
you heard what the D-license coach was saying.
D-license.
We don't have strikers.
We don't have strikers.
But yet again, you have to give credit also to the technical team because they actually studied Mhlongo's weakness also. Because they will also tell the free kick takers because they plan against these teams. Yeah. So every time when they take a free kick, they know it's stronger side. Maybe it's on the left or it's on the right. Even like they will say, okay, test him with your low shots. It will still work because he maybe compensate in terms of covering angles where he's supposed to actually be assisted by the wall. So I think that actually works in terms of the technical team as well. They need to be given credit as well. And because they analyze those moves.
And the other technical team?
I don't think they do much. I don't think they do much. If a keeper will go out of, if you put a wall and then you still stay like the Shoaib has explained,
Something is wrong.
something is wrong. Someone is not doing their job, or maybe now Mhlongo is actually using his own ability to say, okay, I can save it in this way. He's not following the instructions now.
And you know what? I think I counted about 3, because there were 3 free kicks,
Yeah.
almost in the same region. Those 2 in the second half, and Zwane's 1 in the first half.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so it means that the opponent is going to force you to commit those mistakes.
Right.
Yeah.
And they know that when it comes to set plays,
Yeah.
they've got a target. So you've got to plan for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you have it. I mean, that's, I think, beautiful analysis as far as what happened in that game between Baroka and Mamelodi Sundowns. As Shoaib Walters is the new man in 2021. We'll see you after the break as we continue on Monday Night Football. Welcome back. It's Monday Night Football on Soweto TV, and maybe I'll call this our open mic section, guys, because, we're just going to touch on what's been happening. I'll put a topic to you, and we'll take it from there. Maybe let's start with the man at the top of the goal-scoring charts in Bradley Grobler. 9 goals in 9 games. It's very rare that you can say a goal a game for a South African striker. But here we are.
Interestingly, I had a lengthy interview with him last week.
Yeah.
Chatting about everything, but most importantly, equaling and breaking the record, because the goal he scored this past weekend also equaled an all-time leading goal scoring record at the club.
Yes.
From the late Abraham Rasalemane.
Right.
57 goals. So he's on 57 goals now, and he's just a goal away from setting a new record.
Right.
With
so many more games to play.
Exactly. But one of the things I spoke about with him was the impact of having someone like Thamsanqa Kabuza. Because since Kabuza's arrival, this has sort of freed Grobler, giving him some independence,
Sure.
in terms of moving around. He's not relying, the focus is not on him as a point of reference up front.
Sure.
Kabuza has to do all the dirty work,
Right.
and he can come in. He says he also even enjoys making those late runs into the box, and this is what you expect from him. And I think in fact, he even talks about a 20 goal mark.
Yeah.
That a 20 goal mark. Surely it's going to happen.
It's doable.
It's doable this season,
Yeah.
and he feels that he could have done better even last season. So you can see the quality of the man, and I think for me this is his last season
At SuperSport.
At SuperSport.
On to bigger things.
Knowing Stan Matthews, once he's broken this record,
Yeah.
and then he finishes as a top goal scorer,
He'll say thank you very much.
He'll say thank you. Go and enjoy money elsewhere.
Sure, for sure. And I mean, maybe let's look at that, Calvin, because, we speak about teams that are chopping and changing. Velila references Stan Matthews, who was saying that, listen, we're not going to do much as far as business is concerned because of COVID. We're not that kind of club. But it's almost served them better to have just that continuity, Obviously, they have the option if they want to go in and sign somebody, unlike a Kaizer Chiefs. But having that baked-in team that you can almost kind of, put together from your brain, from memory, that must help. And it's probably helped them with their conquest, just to be consistent and carry on moving forward.
True. I think also it gives opportunity to other incoming players as well. Once you've done your job, and then if you pave the way, you're paving the way for those who are coming below you. So I think actually it's a good strategy that Stan is using. He's also actually making money. Remember, football is a business. And the more he's still on form, they sell him, the more they're going to profit, and also try to actually to generate more players as well to come up the ranks.
No, for sure. And I mean, looking at his strike partner, Gabuza, I mean, we were kind of speaking off air just about how happy we are for him to have this new lease on his life. But more than that, to be actually critical to the project. It's one thing to move and have no pressure on you, but to get to your next team and actually be a worthwhile contributor who now, gives his coach food for thought as far as the starting 11 is concerned, that is a great upswing in his fortunes.
Yes, I think it helped Kabuza quite a bit, and like you said, we've spoken about it before we were on air. We're happy for him because when you're a striker and you can see quality strikers, you want the best for them, and a lot of the times is you feel like Valili was saying, he does most of the dirty work, and sometimes they're not rewarded, and sometimes they're not even recognized.
Sure.
And now that he's doing the hard work, but he's also being recognized
And chipping in with a goal or
chipping
two.
in with I mean 2 goals over the weekend.
Yeah.
So it's good for him, and I feel like Sosi is saying, it's good for Super Sport because now they can say, okay, you know what, let's Bradley, you can be on your merry way. Good luck and enjoy, a good massive contract.
Yeah.
Where you can, we have a Kabuza and we can pave way for the next one. Kabuza plays a vital role in the team because just how much he occupies the attention of the defenders, of other teams, and that's why he definitely will be able to reach Bradley will be able to reach the 20 goal mark because of what Kabuza brings to it, and people need to acknowledge that, and I'm sure Caetano, he knows it, and they can see that is the type of the philosophy that they want to do, where Kabuza's taking away defenders, taking them out of position, and Bradley Grobela with his intelligence is coming in making late runs.
Sure.
But it's also, you have to give credit to Bradley because he was always the go-to guy, and now to vary your type of play. So that flexibility is good, and that's a good sign of a good striker.
Sure.
And also previously he's had problems with injuries.
Yes.
So now he's been managed better in terms of rehabilitation, but also in terms of the medic team as well, because he's been injury prone in all over
his whole career.
Yes, But if you look in the last 18 months, it's been a totally different case altogether, and he's making use of it.
Okay.
And I think it's because he's playing in a different role now, because he comes in late in the box, his runs that he makes, he's being afforded an opportunity to make more entrance in the box than before. He was more of a centre man, so play was actually revolving around him more.
Right.
But now they've switched it around, where now they've left Kabuza as a point of reference, who actually holds up the balls for him to actually to score.
Okay. Let's talk maybe about the project that's happening with Amazulu Vasili leaving Cape Town City to go join Benny. You got Aaron Mokwena coming in at Cape Town City. What does Vasili bring to the project? I mean, obviously you've worked with him, and people might not know why Benny insisting on him. Obviously, it's from their time together, but what does he bring to the plate?
He brings Vasili is the guy that can translate to a certain degree what Benny wants. So even though Benny is speaking to you in English, you might not understand it. Vasili is the translator, where he'll go to you, to Calvin, put his arm over, around your neck and say, this is what Benny wants.
He's your sponge.
Yes, and then he's also the sponge where if you're not playing, you can't go and fight with Benny because Benny's just going to shout at you back.
Sure.
So you can go and shout at Vasili, I'm not happy. What must I do? What is the situation? I've trained hard all week. Benny's not even having a look at me. Vasili is the guy. Also, all coaches nowadays, looking at people that they can trust. And I'm not saying you can't trust Bele Noveti as his assistant, but as in you've worked with him. I mean, we've spoken, who's Owen Da Gama going to look to? Potentially Alan Fries, because you always look at the people that you can trust. And I think...
So you think Alan will leave the job at Free State?
Actually, I think it's Vusi Chabalala, the coach he brought. Okay. Alan was more of a project of Highlands more than ODG.
You think so?
Yes.
You know what? It could be, and maybe a relationship.
There's a guy, Vusi Chabalala. I think Vusi Chabalala. He was the second assistant coach. That was his guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
but I mean, look, it could be, because if you look at Amazulu now, you have Amazulu saying, we want Bele Numbeti, and okay, Benny, who do you want?
Bele is also Benny.
Benny.
Yes, because Benny realized that some of his choices is going to be Vasili and also Monip. At least Monip comes from Amazulu.
Yeah.
But with Bele, because also that is KZN, and also you've got guys who are coming from KZN.
Sure.
So in terms of who
balancing
does,
the heritage,
who does Benny understand better? This guy has been his strike partner. But also he says something. He says, whenever I get an opportunity, we also have to try and create opportunities for our generation.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yes, and now the next thing he wants also to push Bele to have his badges. so that he doesn't just become an assistant coach only.
Yeah.
Like the situation that happened in Cape Town. Mbazo has never coached, but because the coach
Worked
in South
with him
Africa
before.
worked with him before,
Right.
So,
he brings him in.
but that is why I understand that.
But
And,
that
and
brings
why I
value.
would have thought it was from AmaZulus because to a certain degree there's a culture. I mean, like you're saying now.
Yes. No,
at
it's
AmaZulu,
it was Benny's
idea
idea.
to say yes.
Yes.
If, for example, there come a time that we're not doing well,
Yes.
I need Bele to go to the players and keep them motivated.
Right.
Because I have a certain way of motivating players that might not work.
Yeah.
So
Good cop, bad cop.
yes, but you also have to look at. For me, Bele's been with AmaZulu, and I think
Yes.
so. Maybe it could have been a balance between Benny saying, "Yes, I want to empower Bele,"
Yeah.
and AmaZulu saying, "Yes, perfect guy because
He's part of our club.
part of our club."
history. Yeah.
So
Because already, remember, he was out of AmaZulu structure.
Sure.
He
And
was
got
a
brought
new
back
back,
in.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Okay. No. Okay, fair enough, gents. Thank you so much. I think we've run out of time. So we're gonna wrap it up. I wish we had more time. 2021, I hope brought more time, but we'll see. Maybe we'll find a way of keeping the conversation going sometime in the future on other platforms. Thank you so much, though, for joining us. To my panel, you've been great as always. A good way to start Monday Night Football for 2021. From myself, Gamzambata, and the team that made this possible. Until we meet in a week's time, sharp.